From the Connections Studio Suites, it's Connections. Connections is relationship radio.
Welcome to Connections. How are you? We are live on social media, and this show will be on the radio Thursday night, 9 o'clock, WFLA Orlando. And you can follow me if you want more information, or go to News Radio WFLA Orlando on your social media. Hello, it's Melissa Fox, 2 X's, and that guy you see over there in the other chair. Why, that is Lance Bonsai Stinson. How are you?
I'm doing great. Long time no see, my friend.
Yeah, really, in person, too. Are you not afraid of the vid coming to get you?
Heck no.
Okay. So tonight's show is about prepping, survival, when the peanut butter, Skippy in particular at this point, because you can't find Jif, hits the fan, and homesteading and some things like that. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about your journey and where you are now, Lance.
Okay, well, like most people that have gotten into prepping, it all started with a certain event. With me, it was Hurricane Andrew. I was in my early 20s, and I was in Miami for that intense storm. And seeing the people standing in water lines and food lines and not having anything, I was still young. I was in my 20s. I didn't have a family yet, but I made it a point. I was never going to let that happen to my wife and kids when I have them. And that's where it started. And now I'm, 52, wife, kids, and I think I'm pretty ready, but you're never 100% ready.
I follow you on social media, and I suggest that others too do that if you fit the guidelines of people who are worried and ready for when the S hits the fan.
True.
And how can people get a hold of you first and foremost?
Well, the easiest way, if you want to shoot me an email, it's Bonsai, Banzai, at m4radio.com. Or you can check out our Prepping and Survival page on Facebook. It's St. Cloud Prepping and Surviving.
Okay, very nice. So now, a lot of people go off the deep end and think when you say prepping, you're like, oh no, we're going to convert our pool into an underground You know what I'm saying. Is that really the realistic, or are we going off the deep end with this? And there's a happy medium.
There is a happy medium. True prepping is a lifestyle. It's not something that you go, oh my God, the zombies are coming, and you try and prep real quick. It's about being ready for any natural or man-made problem that can happen. Anything from hurricane, tornadoes, to losing your job. If you've got enough food and supplies at your house already stocked up and you lose your job, that's one less thing you have to worry about while you look for new work. You don't have to worry about buying extra food and, where's the money coming from because you've got it already.
Yes, that makes sense, which brings me to my next question. Again, we're talking with Lance Bonsai Stinson, and he is what we would call a prepper, an organizer down in Osceola County, St. Cloud to be specific. A lot of land down there is getting gobbled up at the moment.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, which is, it's got to be infringing on your farms and all that homesteading that we're going to talk about in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But tell the people how it is that you made it through the pandemic, and did you have to dip into too much of your supply already? Were you prepared? Did people come to you?
Well, yes, we were already prepared, but also, thank God, my wife and I are both essential workers, so we still had employment during it. So that kept some of the cash coming in, but some of the shortages that there were, like the no toilet paper shortage and some of the other food stuff, that didn't affect us because we already had our stuff. And we always got to chuckle seeing people panic. It's like...
Well, the toilet paper thing in specific, Lance, really? Toilet paper, that just was amazing. And I still think that was like one of those little pearls that gets dropped into somebody's ear, whispered to somebody else, and then all of a sudden, toilet paper's not available and we can't wipe our bums.
True. Like what happens right before every hurricane here in Florida or up north, before every blizzard, all of a sudden, boom, the stores are wiped out because everyone panics at once.
Right. No plywood, or it's $30 for a sheet when it should be just a couple of dollars. which brings me to another subject that we're not going to talk about at this moment. Right now, we're talking with Bonsai. He is a prepper, St. Cloud, Florida. You just got some new animals in, too.
Oh, yeah.
Now, is that part of homesteading? Am I looking at that verbiage properly? Like that's being self-sufficient?
Yes, exactly. There's a difference between being strictly a prepper and then being, like, let's say, a homesteader. And usually people will transition from becoming a prepper and then they kind of slide into homesteading. Because when you just prep, you have stuff, which is awesome. But once that stuff runs out, then you're going to have to go buy some more if it's there. Mm-hmm. A homesteader is more becoming self-sufficient, where you won't have to dip into your stuff as much, and you have your own food and supplies.
Wow.
That you can grow and raise and eat.
Now, are you off the grid? Are you that kind? Is that part of prepping, or is that how's that work?
Be as independent as you can. Yes, we on my homestead have solar and big old Tesla batteries and all that. So we are effectively 100% off grid, and we have our own wells and so on and so forth. So we're not on city water. We take care of everything, plus big old generators as backup and propane tanks and so on and so forth. So, we should be able to handle most long-term events, but again, no one is 100% prepared. You could be a quote-unquote expert and still forget something.
Wow. Well, yeah, but one would hope that you don't. Yeah, and when the amount of people that watch these apocalypse movies and zombie, you think that there would be a little more preparation just in a natural way. Just like, hey, you might want to grab an extra gallon of water. Hey, that's good thinking.
Well, see, the problem is a thing called normalcy bias.
Oh.
With normalcy bias, you don't think it can or will ever happen to you. But again, if you ask people, let's say in 1913, a couple years before the First World War, if you told them that in just a couple years Europe was going to be burned to the ground, they'd be like, "What? No, right? Okay, whatever." Right before the crash in 28, 29, if you told them stock market was going to totally implode and there'd be food lines, they'd look at you like you're nuts. In 2019, December, if you told people that in just a couple of months schools and stores would be shut down, there'd be no toilet paper, and they'd be forcing you to wear masks and get a jab and this, that, and the other, they would have told you you're nuts. What kind of dystopian novel did you read?
But indeed it happened. And some of us, a lot of us, were not prepared at all. Now, would you say, Lance, were you self-sufficient totally at that point, or did you still have to rely on others during the pandemic?
For the most part, we were completely independent. I mean, we didn't have the solar panels in yet. So we still, thank God, the grid stayed up, But other than that, we were basically A-okay. Food, water, and all the other, like, medicines. And we keep all that stuff around. And it's also about having a network, a group of people, so that if you do run short on something, one of the people in your network has it, you trade, you help each other out back and forth.
So how do we separate you from Red Rock and that, or Red River, whatever that, you know what people are hearing this show, especially the older folk that are listening on the radio. I love you all. But some of you have some planted theories in your head that have come from the media, and I'm as much to blame, when it comes down to it. But, how do we get past the fact that they're like, oh, it's a militia they're doing down there?
Well, I mean, first of all, if you're a prepper, you need to have some way of defending your family anyways. Because look at Hurricane Katrina and various other things. Bad guys do come out. So it's not about being in a quote-unquote militia. It's just knowing that you can take care of your family and your neighbors and so on and so forth are on the same page, so you've got each other's backs.
That is fantastic. Some good stuff going on right now with Lance Stinson, also known as Bonsai from M4 Radio. You might remember him, Orlando, back in the day. Yeah, we're going to talk more about prepping, survivalists, as well as homesteading, and how you get started, how long it took him to get where he is today. Is he finished? All those questions and more will be coming up on Connection Show. It's relationship radio with a twist.
Connections is Relationship Radio. You're listening to Connections.
Get ready, I think I hear something.
Man, I wish I was deaf.
Sir, do you know why I pulled you over?
Certainly not for operating an illegal pirate radio station.
Are you ready for that? Are you? Do you have that? You got a pirate radio station, a couple of 1,000 watts or so that you can broadcast. That's something I wonder about when it comes to prepping, survivalist skills, all that. But I'm sure somebody knows how to make a radio. Hey, welcome back. How are you? Melissa Fox, and I've got my friend Bonsai Lance Stinson. He's with us tonight. He's talking about prepping and not that doomsday stuff. I mean, come on now. We're not going off the deep end here, are we, Bonsai?
Well, we would hope not, but
Well,
but you never know how bad it can get. I mean, most emergencies are only a few days to a few weeks. But look at Puerto Rico, that last big hurricane that hit there a couple years ago. Some parts still don't have power.
Never recovered.
You know.
Yeah, they just don't get the money. And there's so much corruption, too. But that, again, is another left turn that we're not going to make at this moment.
Exactly.
How long, when did you first of all, now I've known you for 20-some years. Melissa Fox here. Yeah, I'm honest to a point. But yeah, when did you start watching what was going on in the United States, saying, "Look, the GIF is going to hit the blades, and we're going to be dealing with the aftermath"? When did you feel that way, and then when did you actually take action?
Well, when I was younger, in my late teens, during the Cold War, of course, we all had the nuclear war over our heads and, everything. But I was broke. I was a teenager, so all I could do was just read, study, and try and learn. I didn't get serious about it until I finally started having some money, and you can actually start putting some of your plans to, action. And then once my wife and I actually became reasonably successful, we were able to throw it into high gear and try and teach other people to help them do the same thing.
Okay, then. All right. Then when you started purchasing the animals.
That was just recently. That was, we bought the property that we're on now in 2013, and we had to spend time fixing and rebuilding and doing some other things. So it was finally in just the last couple of years, we were able to start doing things with goats, with chickens, with some hogs now. And it's already showing us some returns. We have eggs beyond belief. I look at my future bacon.
Okay, I was going to ask, and I'm sure some of our inquiring minds. You mentioned earlier that you've got a wife and a couple of kids now.
Yes.
How are they? They're not befriending the hogs, I hope, too much, right?
Well, my son is 12, and
he gets it.
Yeah, he totally gets it. He's my right hand man. He helps me so much. My daughter's 8, and she understands. And it's so cute. Sometimes when she does go to eat something, she talks to the food. I'm sorry, but I know that, this had to be done.
As long as she's not talking to it by name, hey, Ronnie, they could have some really weird circumstances. But right now, if you're just tuning into the show, it's Connections. It's Relationship Radio with a twist. Tonight, we're talking with Lance Stinson, and you can find them on the internet, social media. They're not hiding anywhere. This is not some sort of, because you're going to hear it. I hear it all the time. Oh, Pin, you associate with all these alternative people, or the liberals is mostly what they're talking about there. But it's true story. Anywho, when you first came to me years ago, started sending me stuff, more importantly for the morning show on News Radio WFLA Orlando, because they are conservative, but perhaps not conservative enough. They're aware, but they often get sucked into the smoke and mirrors or what's being presented to them as well. And you are often sending me things that it's like, wake up!
Well, I mean, and again, part of that is normalcy bias. Even people that are semi-awake will still have that thing. They may know and kind of understand, but it's not going to happen to me. It's going to happen to someone else in Sri Lanka. It's going to happen somewhere, so on and so forth. So they don't, then it finally does happen to someone they know. And then they start going, oh, that's now I've been getting phone calls from the same people that I would talk to 5, 6, 7 years ago. And they would poo-poo me and laugh at me and mock me. Now they're calling me, Lance, remember what you were talking to me about like a while back? Yeah. Like, what should I do now? Okay, do this. Build a time machine. Go back 5 years ago and listen to what I told you. Because now you're behind the 8 ball. I mean, time is really short for what's coming. And with the way prices are jumping and everything.
Sure. And, all right, I'll bite, people. Again, speaking for, Joe and Josephine, who are like, wait, what's coming? He said something's coming. What? Tell us.
Oh, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
No!
No.
Seriously.
Well, I mean, seriously, just look at the economy right now. Prices are skyrocketing. A real quick example, it's Sam's. The 6-pack canned white meat chicken. Been buying it for a long time. It's good. It was $9.98 for that 6-pack. Right now, I went 2 days ago to Sam's, $17.98 for the exact same thing.
Wow.
And that's just one item. Now, that's a pretty extreme. That's almost double. But most items are 30, 40, 50% more.
Yeah, they're telling you it's 10, 12%
It's
at
not.
most, but most of your proteins are 15, 17% on top. I don't even want to talk about over-the-counter bacon, but yeah, you're right. My example would be one of their named grocery stores where they have the buy one, get one deal.
Yes, yes.
And you're saving $7.96 on a 16-ounce tub of mayonnaise. Buy one, get one free. Save $7. How much am I paying? Wait a minute now. Now, this is actually what I should be paying for 2.
Exactly.
Not what I'm saving. How dare you? And yet you throw them in your cart anyway, you stupid people. No, I'm sorry. Nobody's stupid. I get yelled at for calling people stupid sometimes. But, it's just it's the idea behind it. And we just were like, well, we can't do anything. Well, yeah, you can. Lance is here to tell you that you can. You do not have to take this.
Exactly. I mean, hopefully for those that were prepping already, that's why you buy stuff when you don't need it as much at a lower price. And my wife is from Ukraine. She told me about in the 90s when the Soviet Union fell. If you got paid on Friday, you had to spend it all on Friday because by Monday, prices would double.
Yeah, it wouldn't be worth anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, not to scare people, I'm not a fearmonger, but look at the evidence. Inflation, fuel prices, the stock market just dropped another 700 points so far.
Yeah, your 401k.
Yeah.
Good luck. I know I got one. I'm counting on it. It's dipping.
Rent, which
Oh, yeah.
from what happened then. So, yeah, I mean, and it's all coming to a head. Then add what's going on in Ukraine right now with Russia, and there's, saber rattling against Poland and
But
NATO.
we've gotten desensitized to that now. It's been going on since sometime in March. That's 3 months. Well, is that still going on?
Yeah, it sure is. My in-laws actually fled Ukraine, and now they're staying here, which is awesome. But so with all these different things going on, do you really think everything's going to stay together and just be all nice and perfect? I don't, and it's not about electing people at this point. I'm sorry.
Well,
You know,
there's enough proof out there for some of us that we don't matter, and that no matter what, the outcome will be whatever those in power or those who control whatever, whoever they want, that's the deal. We can go ahead and pull our little levers and mark our little box and hang our little chads. But I mean, call me a conspiracy theorist, because people do. But I really have always felt that, to a sense, that our vote never counted anyway. And then it was just the collective whatever.
right? No.
And again, another subject off of the side here. Right now we are talking with Lance Bonsai Stinson. And hey, how do people get a hold of you on the internet real quick?
Well, really easy. You can go to bonsai at m4radio.com. That's my email. Or St. Cloud Prepping and Surviving, the group on Facebook.
All right. And of course, you have to answer a few questions. You don't let just any Yahoo in. I'm just going to put You know I'm messing around, right? I know. If you're worthy, I'm not worthy. This is Connections, and we will be right back. Thanks for listening.
Connections is Relationship Radio.
We now join America's most popular show, already in progress.
Does anybody know what the hell is going on?
2 words. Crotchless panties.
Welcome back. Connections live on the internet Tuesday afternoons at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings. I don't know. Are we in Daylight Savings time? Or?
I wish they just changed that finally.
I try to keep up. That's Bonsai, my buddy, Lance Stinson. He's here to tell us about prepping and homesteading and, frankly, surviving when the S hits the fan. Now, that is something I used as a code, SHTF. And if you look it up, it's pretty damn obvious what's going on. What kind of skills, Bonsai, will we need when it does hit the fan?
Well, first off, you have to feed your family. That's the main thing. You have to start out with your food, your water, and basic supplies. I know people are short on money right now, so take baby steps. I mean, unless, hey, if you have the money to go all out, do it. But if not, just start baby steps, 72 hours worth of stuff, then build up to 2 weeks, and so on and so forth. Beyond that, your skills, learn everything you can about natural healing and natural pharmaceuticals, things from plants.
You mean Eastern medicine?
Yes, that too. I have a tremendous acupuncturist that helps me with my back, and she practices other Eastern type stuff too. She's amazing. But again, that's about networking too. You get this network because you can't know everything, so find people that do. You know. Then again, if you live in an area where you can have animals, start small. Just some chickens, some rabbits, some small things. They're quiet. They're easy to handle. I mean, I'm not saying go out and grab 15 cows all of a sudden because, you just can't do that.
I know some people that just did that, actually. No kidding. They've had a farm for like a year out in the Lakeland-ish area, and they just added like 30 cows to their land. And yeah, so I was impressed. Plus, they're real estate agents. I was gonna say there's something going. There's something to that. So if you can get the animals, you do have the land. That's the next step. And then what?
Well, and then of course, always you have to be able to defend yourself and your family. So if you do not already have some way of doing that, get trained. Take a concealed class, take a real one, because, a lot of them are just, you watch a video and then they pat you on the back.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, one of our Arms Room Radio, Mike, he mentioned to me that the courses can be anywhere from 40 minutes literally to 40 hours, depending on, which is a flaw, I think, in some ways. But if you're smart enough, again, back to that word, if you're smart enough, you'll get as much training as possible.
Exactly, and not just how to shoot things on paper. You need to know how to shoot and move, because if the bad guys are coming through the front door of your house, how many, home invasions are there nowadays? It's crazy.
True.
So, I mean, they aren't all going to stand in the line for you.
Right. I'm next.
You've got to know how to hide behind things and shoot and move. And
so what do you think, paintball? I always found that to be a nice little starting place for some people to get a feel for all of it.
Paintball and airsoft both. You could learn a lot of the moves. But again, in the end, you do need to know how the real item feels and sounds and flashes.
Well, I was military too. So
exactly, right.
I mean, I get it. I often think that we should take our kids when they're like the summer of their 12th, male, female, otherwise, and give them, basic training, a real basic training on just like the military does.
I started my son at age 7. No. He's 12 now, and he can handle a full AR.
Yeah, and I'm talking about the discipline part, the structure, all of that, plus the skills, that you would learn, the military skills. So, I mean, I still, and people, oh, you sound like Castro. I'm like, well, there might have been a little bit of something to that. But I mean, no, I'm just saying these kids are kind of limp nowadays unless you take and make an effort like you have, Lance. So tell us some more about, what the impending doom is and what's going to happen to those people who have not really paid attention or just like, it's going to happen to someone else. Those people you mentioned, you gave them a name I refuse to remember.
Well, the people who are asleep, I hate to say it, they're going to be the ones in the food lines. They're going to be the ones starving. They're going to be the ones hungry, begging for shelter, so on and so forth. And my heart goes out to them. But just like Noah, if you believe the Bible at all, he warned the people. He warned people for 100 years that it took him to build the ark, and they laughed at him until the rain started. It's the same thing here. I've tried teaching, and a lot of people have opened their eyes. That's awesome, but a lot haven't, and my heart goes out to them. But in the end, I can only do so much.
How many people knocked on your door during the pandemic, so to speak, and were like, hey,
Plenty of phone
got
calls.
any toilet paper? Got anywhere? If things go really, really south, can I?
I've had plenty of phone calls and stuff, and I tell them the same thing that I tell everybody that has a group is you can't save everyone. So if you are going to come, you have to bring something of worth.
Oh.
Be it a skill, be it gear and supplies, or even at least just a strong back to help, dig, to help raise the animals, to help feed yourself here. But if you think you're going to just come and sit around and say, oh, well, you prep, so I'm going to come hang out with you, you're wrong.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. We will protect our families.
Very good. Now, recently in my own household, after a weekend of people not being able to really enjoy the 4th of July or any of the independence things, either one for fear or two because some a-hole actually did something and got the kahunas up to do something really dumb and shoot and kill people. We still don't know all the reasons behind it, but it is what it is. And that mentality, it is what it is, bothers me when I say that. And then at home, I've got people who would have no business having a weapon, okay, just for reasons of temper issues and not being well-trained when it comes to disciplining that anger. I don't want weapons in their hands.
Right.
Even if they are trained well, just there's a certain bit of, I'm because I'm not scared for myself. I'm scared for somebody who comes in who may not be a foe, but things go sideways, Yeah. But how do you get that person to, one, feel okay to go back out again, and two, get off the gun kick if they're not one of those people who should have a weapon?
Right. Well, I mean, I have friends that I am like, no, don't, please. And there's really, all you can really say at that point is like, look, I'll take care of this. We all have our jobs. I will do security. You will do this. You will do that. And as far as the fear of going out, you can't live in fear.
Yeah.
Prepping is not about fear. It's really just the opposite. If you have a big test coming up, big test and science test for school, and you study, you prepare for it, you won't be afraid when you go into the test. I think I got this. I'll probably get a good grade. Now, you blow it off for the last month, and then you completely forget about the test, and you wake up Monday, oh, crap, there's the test. You're afraid, aren't you? The difference between preparing and not preparing. It's the same thing with this. You don't know if you're going to lose your job, if something's going to happen, natural, man-made, like whatever. So just have the stuff ready, and you won't be afraid. When I was younger, I used to be afraid, thinking, oh, no, like, what are we going to do? I don't think that anymore. Now I'm not afraid because I'm good.
Yeah. I'm kind of bummed. I learned earlier this week that there was a big concert, one of the free deals that one of our local lawyers does over in the fairgrounds area with Bon Jovi, Matt, and he decided to cancel it because of the recent stuff that happened over the weekend. Wow. And then there was a scare down at Lake Eola after the bad press that the city of Orlando got, by the way, for pretty much just taking that stick and stirring the poo-poo around, making it political instead of about our independence and freedom. and then there was a scare.
A scare, exactly, and the people panic. But that is
panicked.
that's another topic called situational awareness, both macro and micro. Micro is you walk into a building, you look for the fire exits, so in case something happens, be it a fire or be it a active shooter, how to get out, so on and so forth, and not having your face buried in a cell phone, the whole time.
Yeah.
Then
Or taking video of it when something is going bad. What the hell is wrong with people? Hey, let's take a quick break. We got Lance Bonsai Stinson with us, and he's talking about prepping, being ready when the S hits the fan. We'll be right back. This is Connections. It's relationship radio with a twist.
Connections is relationship radio.
I'm drunk right now, so that kind of stuff amuses me.
Buy me a beer, $2 a glass. Come on, help me, I'm freezing by.
Welcome back. It's Connections, relationship radio with a twist. Today, that's Lance and myself, Melissa Fox, Lance Stinson, also known as Bonsai from M4 Radio. Yeah, he's the guy that you're going to want to call when it's too late. It's true, man. He's getting prepared. He's been prepared. How long did you say you've been pulling it all together?
Since the late 80s, early 90s.
So even when I knew you were earlier, when you were still, the internet was in its infancy, and he was already like one of those music services kicking out the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the internet. It's crazy.
I was a bit more on the down low back then.
Right.
But
okay.
But now I'm out. I've come out of the prepper closet, so to speak.
But not the off the deeper end prepper closet,
right.
Okay? Because that is like something that you show on one of those crazy arts and entertainment networks where you want to get people to watch. All right, and it's totally edited together, and it takes the most extreme people. Well, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about being self-sufficient, being ready when things go badly, and the way things are looking right now, even as I mentioned right before we went to the break, the city of Orlando out there stirring up stuff. Well, if you don't want to be an American and you don't feel real patriotic, come on down anyway. And then they went 90 degrees and 100,000 people, and I thought they were going to go to the COVID thing, get sick. Instead, they went, we already bought the fireworks. What the hi-hat?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you see where the division is coming, and then we don't know how this is all going to work out. We're pissing off other countries. We can't even be self-sufficient as a country anymore. They're messing us up from inside. Gas, I came down $4.34. It was $4.43. That's the lowest it's been, and I'm supposed to go, yay!
And again, they want to desensitize you to it so that when it does go down to $4, you're like, oh, that's a darn good price.
That's great. Look at that. I got 15 cents off at my local, and now it's down to $3.85. What is going on? Lance, help.
The other thing, like I was saying right before the break about micro situation awareness, then there's macro. Mm-hmm. That's being aware of the news, what's going on in your local community, your state, the country, the world. Because if you are aware and you see stuff coming down the pike, you can prepare for it earlier. Like the food shortages because of, like, let's say one instance, the war in Ukraine right now. A lot of the fertilizer that we get comes from Russia and China. Two people that aren't too happy with us right now.
Sure.
So there's shortages, so our farmers can't grow the food as much. The fuel prices going up. What do those tractors run on? Air? No, they run on fuel. And right now, I'm not sure if it's 100% true or not. I've been reading things back and forth. They're talking about we have about 8 weeks or so left of reserves of diesel fuel, diesel exhaust fluid, which any truck built after 2010 needs to run or it won't even turn on, and diesel oil. So if that's the case, and all of a sudden there's massive shortages in those three items, your rigs stop running, your trains stop running, your farm machinery stops running. What's that going to do to your stores?
Oh, what's it already doing just at this point where you go into your store, doesn't matter what name, doesn't matter if it's lower end or higher end. All I'm saying is you get vegetables and they're coming out of the box and into your basket and they're lasting maybe a day or two before they are at the point where you should be making bread out of, or something,
Right,
some sort
right.
of, yeah. What the heck? You can't even count on the produce that they do have, and it's overpriced.
Yes.
I mean, I'm paying $7. I'm paying $1 an apple.
Now, one trick that a lot of people don't know is there's quite a bit of produce that you can grow produce from what you get from the store. Onions, potatoes, green peppers, tomatoes,
Cucumbers.
taking those seeds. And then, so if you have any type of like knowledge of that stuff right there, that's something fine. Spend the money, buy the food you need now, and then start making your own.
Right. Well, we have a Better Lawns and Gardens show that we run here on the Florida News Network as well as on our local stations. It airs on Saturdays at some point. Check your local radio listings, and they will tell you all day long what to do, what time of year, how to do it, when to do it, what to not do, all of that. When it comes to chemicals, really, really got to be careful with what you're using. So, again, and you just talked about the soil and our... Yeah, again, we got problems. Listen to that show or do your research. Don't just go buy a bunch of stuff and yay, I've got a green thumb.
Yeah, I mean, if it was any one of these things happening, you could be like, okay, it's not that bad, whatever. But this is a perfect storm.
Right.
We have all these things happening at the same time.
And housing is a big issue.
Exactly. You went through that just recently.
Yes, I did, by the grace of God. And thanks again. I believe in some sort of a higher power that I put it in the hands of and hope that things are meant to be the way it is. You can call it manifest destiny or manifesting your own destiny, however you want to call it. But yeah, there's just times when I'm sure there's got to be some sort of divine intervention because things have been going so badly for so many people. It's like we're all walking around with a dark cloud around us with good reason, except if you are prepared.
Definitely. And if you guys want to find out more, not only on our Facebook group, St. Cloud Prepping and Surviving. If you have any questions at all, email me, banzai@m4radio.com, BANZAI at m4radio.com. I'm also doing a small little 15-minute podcast now, once a week at radiolove.com. It's being squeezed into the Savvy Schmidt Talk show, which is, interesting. It's a little 15-minute bit here and there, kind of like a YouTube, length kind of thing.
Sure.
So, you could tune into that, but you'll get a lot of good information from our Facebook page.
Yeah, it is.
We have people there, all different kind of professions, gardeners, doctors, and everything that post hints and stuff, and I'm always posting videos.
Okay, so we know what SHTF stands for, all right? And if you don't, again, you got to look it up. SHTF, yeah, that's it. S hits the fan. Okay, and that is what the premise of a lot of this has come from, and that's, Bonsai, you've been watching. You've been seeing what's going on. You said, as I look further down the road than just a month, and unfortunately, a lot of people, you were saying about Macrosite and Mini and all that, well, they don't see any further than the next paycheck because, frankly, that next paycheck doesn't come.
They're done.
They don't have a plan. So they don't want to. I don't want to look any further than that. And it's mostly fear. But if you would just take a moment and start stocking up on a little bit here and there, as you said, start with 3 days worth and then start to get more of a plan, a week, a couple of weeks. And you can do that. But that's the best way to start out when it comes to it. I'm not,
Exactly.
I gleaned that, yeah.
Unless you, if you have the money to go all out, right away, call me. Call me. I'll set you up. I'll walk you through it, and you'll have a bunker. But but if you're the average person that's paycheck to paycheck, call me, and I'll walk you through baby steps on how to, get a little bit at a time.
That makes sense. No, it does, folks. And I really got to say thanks to you, Lance, for coming in, not only to the studios during our time here, but just kind of helping us, giving us at least me, more of a feel of, there's some people out there who have been paying attention and not only noticing but doing something about it. And how many goats you got now? How's the pigs and all that?
Let's see. Well, right now we got 6 goats. We
Cat
had
my
7. We actually lost one.
Oh.
She got bit by something, and we've got 3 pigs right now, 8 chickens. We're about to be getting some more, so it's a little thing, but it's growing.
It is. It sounds like it. Well, good luck to you, and good luck to everybody who's actually paying attention. That's ready for when the S hits the fan. Again, that is St. Cloud Preppers and
St. Cloud Prepping and Surviving on Facebook.
There it is. All right. Hey, I got to thank you again for coming into the show, Lance. It's been wonderful seeing you.
Have a good one.
Laughing time is over.
There you have it, boys. Case closed.
You've been listening to Connections. Find tonight's show and replays of our past shows on ConnectionsShow.com.
That worked.